What if you could build a fully functional UI prototype with Figma just by describing it? Well, Figma has released Figma Make, an AI-powered tool that allows you to create fully functional prototypes just from a prompt. But how do you actually use it? Where do you start? And can this tool help you actually save your time? In this tutorial, I'll guide you step by step on how you can use Figma Make as a beginner and share practical tips to use it effectively in your design workflow. Now, my first question when I started using it was, how do I even get to Figma Make? Figma Make, it's a separate product, just like FigJam. So when you are in this screen where you can see your files and your themes, you can click create and open it from here. Now, if you do not see this in the list, it's because you're not on a paid plan or the Figma admin has the AI tools turned off. As of now, only users on a paid plan can access Figma Make. And I already gave my honest review about Figma Make, talk about pricing, access, and how you can add it to your design workflow in my previous video. So today we're jumping directly into the basics. So from here, we can change the title of our project. Let's say it's a travel gear website. And at the bottom of this side panel, we have our AI chat area. This is where we're adding our prompts. And my first tip here is to use Figma Make for ideation. For example, let's say we're working on a company that sells travel gear and we're in the ideation process. Let's try, can you make a website for an e-shop that sells travel gear, please? You don't have to say please, but you know, it's just in case. Okay, let's hit enter, or you can also click this button here and Figma Make will start sharing the reasoning. And this is like their thinking process, right? They're giving you what they're thinking about, and this is how they build everything that they need to build in order to work on your prompt. But at the same time, it starts building a functional prototype by writing the code. And you can see the code here. And once it finishes, we can go to the preview screen with this button on the top bar. I think it's automatic, but you can toggle on the top to see the code and the preview screen. Okay, there we have it. And now let's see what it did for us. Okay, starting at the top, we have a very basic header menu, but kind of aligned with the common patterns, which is a good start. But the contrast of this button is not great, so we'll come back to fix this later. But first, let's just take a look at the rest. We have a section for shop by category, which might be great if this is an actual use case for your site. And this is something you need to double check with your research, of course. And here, maybe adding some images to the categories might help as well. That can be fixed. Now, remember, this is AI. It's just a tool. It is not a designer. So we can expect errors around here. So then we have feature products, and it created some subtle zoom in hover states. This looks great. This heart also has a hover state, which is awesome. We have some repeated pictures here, but we can fix that. Then we have a very standard footer. Okay, these looks decent, but if you're working with real-world scenarios, you will probably need to refine this. So let's come back to our chat area and ask for revisions. Let's include more context. So let's say, can you change the look and feel to match the brand I'm working on? The brand name is The Travelers. Their style is dark and moody. They specialize on traveling gear for extreme weather. Use their primary brand color, which is this one. If you have a brand color, you can just paste it. And okay, let's try this. After a minute or so, there you go. It definitely used the color I asked. It did make this dark and moody. It did include the brand name at the header as well, though maybe if you have a logo, that might be better placed there. And just like that, you can keep refining your design as much as you need. Now, we also have a way to modify specific parts of this design. So let's try changing the first label here. We can change the text of any of the elements by double clicking and just typing, but we can also modify their style directly here. So if I click this point and edit button and then clicking on the element, here we can see two modes to edit the element. So we have edit properties and edit with prompt. Right now we have turned on edit properties, which allows us to change the font color, the font size, our basic font styling, font alignment, and such. And this last option here is to see the code, and you can modify the code directly. And all of these properties might change depending on the selected element. So if you select a button or a div or a container, these options might change as well. Now let's try making a change with a prompt. And for that, let's use this div here and try to add an image. Let's select this and switch to edit with prompt, and let's just say add an image of a hiker climbing a mountain. And after a few seconds of reasoning, it changed the image, but it doesn't really have a hiker. Yeah, so remember, this is AI, it is not perfect and it's not a human. So maybe there's like a very tiny hiker around there and we don't see it. So if that happens, you would need to just keep iterating and maybe be more specific or change the words you're using in your prompt. And by the way, I have created a free checklist for you on things you should be including in your prompts for Figma Make to make it effective. Link is in the description below. Okay, from here you can preview the prototype and test it out by clicking this button here. Same as Figma Design. You can also publish, which creates a domain for you to share your work with others online. You can also share this draft here with others in your group, like you would do normally in Figma Design. And you can add and remove access from here, or you can just copy the link and share it from this option over here. Now, you maybe figured this out already, but this design is very basic and pretty much cookie cuttered. So another tip here is to use it only for quick ideation or as some kind of first draft. So you don't need to start from a blank page. Figma Make is meant to be for prototyping. So let's say you already have a screen and you want to try and test some interactions. You can copy your frame from Figma and paste it here, or you can also click this button and you can search and select your screen from here and then click on Attach Design. Okay, with the design attached, we can now describe which interactions we want to include. So let's try when user clicks on a card, open a window overlay with details about the class, animated in an engaging way. And after a few seconds, we can see our newly created interactions. Okay, now let's move to the next option, attach a reference image. So if you have a screenshot of an app or website you want to replicate or utilize as a base, you can click this button here. You can select your image from your computer files and prompt. So let's try convert this image into a fully functional prototype. Make sure this is a mobile app. And while that's happening, let me mention that Figma Make cannot replicate exactly what's in the image. So it will just try its best to mimic what it can. So let's take a look at the reference image here and let's compare it. So we can see it's missing some elements here, some paddings and things like that, but it did make it interactive. We can see the hover states on the calendar, and even if we click another day, it changes the available classes, which is awesome. And then we also have a selected state for these classes. So this is a great place to start testing and visualizing this as a prototype with animations. Now, as I was recording this video, Figma decided to add this new feature, select a library, which allows you to choose your own design system for the creations of the screens. But this is quite new even for me, so I will need to talk more about it in the next video. Now, let's remember that this is an AI tool. It is not a designer. And it is a very imperfect tool. So there are still a lot of nuances with it. For example, sometimes it forgets what you prompted before, or sometimes it changes your original design, even if you prompted not to. Or sometimes it doesn't even maintain consistency. So I will suggest to keep the Figma team in the loop and give them feedback if you see any of these nuances, so we can all just contribute to make this tool better. Okay, we said Figma Make is an AI tool, right? AI literacy is quickly becoming one of our essential skills as UX UI designers. We should always have a clear understanding of how our tools work so we can use them effectively. So if you're ready to deep dive into Figma Make, see real use case scenarios, and learn how to prompt it effectively, watch this video next.